At 82, I've learned a lot about life, but there's one decision I deeply regret: moving into a nursing home. At first, I believed it was the right choice. My family reassured me that I would receive all the care and comfort I needed. It seemed like a safe and logical decision. But once I arrived, I quickly realized that the reality was far from what I had imagined. Here are 6 biggest regrets I have after moving into a nursing home. Losing independence. One of the hardest things about moving into a nursing home was realizing that I had lost control over my own life. Everything here runs on a fixed schedule: mealtimes, bedtime, even daily activities. Before, I had the freedom to wake up when I wanted, eat what I liked, and decide how to spend my day. Now, those choices are no longer mine to make. Breakfast is served at a set time, whether I'm hungry or not. Lights go out at a specific hour, even if I'm not ready for bed. If I want to take a walk outside, I have to wait for assistance. Simple decisions, like choosing what to eat or what to wear, feel like privileges rather than basic rights. I remember my first week here, waking up in an unfamiliar bed, reaching for a book I had been reading at home, only to realize that my books, my favorite chair, and the little comforts I had cherished were gone. In their place were sterile walls, a bed I didn't choose, and a routine I had no control over. At home, I could decide my own schedule. I could cook my own meals, sit quietly in my favorite spot, or take a walk whenever I pleased. But here, everything is predetermined. Over time, I stopped arguing when they told me what was for dinner. I stopped asking to go outside whenever I wanted. I adapted because I had to. But in doing so, I lost a part of myself. Once you give up your independence, getting it back is almost impossible. If you're considering a nursing home, ask yourself, are you truly ready to give up the small freedoms that make life yours? Feeling forgotten. At first, when I moved into the nursing home, my family visited often. My daughter came once a week, my grandchildren stopped by on weekends, and for a while, it felt like I was still connected to my old life. I believed them when they promised to visit regularly. But as time passed, their visits became less frequent. My daughter started calling instead of coming. My grandchildren got busy with school, work, and their own lives. Holidays were the hardest. Everyone said they would visit, but at the last minute, plans changed. I found myself sitting alone in the common room, watching others stare at the door, hoping today would be the day someone remembered them. It wasn't that my family stopped loving me. Life just moved on without me. When you're no longer part of the daily routine, people assume you're fine, that you've adjusted, that you don't need as much attention. But the truth is, the longer you stay in a nursing home, the easier it is to be forgotten. I remember one evening, holding my phone, debating whether to call my son. I didn't want to be a burden. I didn't want to remind him that I was here, waiting for a visit that might never come. So I put the phone down. That was the moment I realized this was my life now. Watching the days pass, hoping someone would remember me. If you're considering a nursing home, ask yourself, are you ready for the loneliness? Because no matter how much your family loves you, once you're out of sight, it's easier than you think to become out of mind. Losing my sense of purpose. Before moving into the nursing home, I had a reason to wake up every morning. My days were filled with small but meaningful tasks: watering the plants, cooking my own meals, tidying up my space. Even these simple routines gave me a sense of purpose. But here, everything is done for me. Meals are prepared, cleaning is taken care of, and I no longer have responsibilities. At first, I thought it would be nice to finally relax, to have no chores or obligations. But after a few weeks, I realized something was missing. Without a purpose, the days felt long and empty. I wasn't the only one who felt this way. I met George, an 84-year-old former carpenter who used to love building things. At home, he always had a project to work on. But here, there were no tools, no wood to shape, no projects to complete. Over time, I watched as his once skilled hands became idle in his lap. I feel useless, he told me one day, and I knew exactly what he meant. When you no longer have something to take care of or work toward, life starts to lose its meaning. The mind slows down, the body weakens, and soon you begin to feel like just another resident in a place where time moves, but nothing truly changes. If you're considering a nursing home, Ask yourself, what gives your life meaning? Because once you move in, finding purpose isn't just about filling your time. It's about holding on to the things that make you feel alive. Declining health faster than expected. Before moving into the nursing home, I was doing well for my age. I wasn't running marathons, but I could take care of myself. I cooked my own meals, did light exercises, and went for walks to keep my body active. These small routines kept me strong without me even realizing it. But once I moved in, everything changed. Meals were brought to me, so I no longer had to stand in the kitchen. If I needed something, I could press a button and someone would come to help. At first, it seemed like a luxury, a chance to finally take it easy. But I didn't realize how quickly my body would weaken when I stopped using it. The less I moved, the harder it became to move. My legs felt stiffer, my muscles grew weaker, and before I knew it, even getting up from a chair became difficult. I saw the same thing happen to others. People who had walked in on their own 2 feet were soon relying on wheelchairs. The more help we were given, the more we seemed to need it. I remember my neighbor Alice. When she first arrived, she took daily walks, determined to stay active. But little by little, she slowed down. First, she used a walker, then a wheelchair. One day she told me, "I feel like I've aged 10 years in just a few months." If I had known how fast my health would decline, I would have fought harder to stay active. Because once you slow down, getting back up isn't as easy as you think. Loss of privacy and dignity. Before moving into a nursing home, I had my own space. My home was my sanctuary, where I could close my door, enjoy silence, and do things on my own terms. I never had to ask permission to take a shower, eat when I wanted, or simply sit alone and reflect. But once I entered the nursing home, I quickly realized that privacy was a luxury I no longer had. From the moment I arrived, I felt like I was constantly being watched. Staff members came in and out of my room for scheduled checks, sometimes without knocking. Even though they meant well, it was unsettling to feel like my personal space was no longer mine. Sharing spaces with others also took away the comfort of solitude. I was lucky to have a kind roommate, but many others weren't so fortunate. The loss of dignity was even harder to accept. Simple tasks that I had done independently my whole life now required assistance. I had to ask for help to get dressed, use the bathroom, or even take a shower. When your daily routines are dictated by someone else's schedule, you start to feel less like a person and more like just another resident on a list. Losing privacy and dignity wasn't just about inconvenience. It changed how I saw myself. Share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.